Hello, and today we'll continue with Infinite Space. The doors in front of us illuminate and then softly open. I'm met with endless space. Staring into the void, bespeckled with stars, is unnerving. The fact that we have not all been sucked into the vacuum of space, and also that my feet remain firmly on the floor, is just enough to prevent myself from holding my breath. A few others, however, do just that. It's beautiful and inviting in a standing on a precipice kind of way. As I take in more, I look around the edges of the door where I can just make out the blurring of the holographic mess. It breaks the illusion just a little. It's not just a complete void moving through the room or walks of various sizes. Some are as large as a house, others are smaller than my fist. Damn, looks like Root may have guessed right. That smug prick, his tail wagging is enough to know he's pleased at his assessment. I'm glad his back is to me. However, I can feel his grin through the back of his skull. Welcome to your playground, squires. I will start a sentence from below the platform, all arms blade like some giant space-faring insectoid. The hands on their graph arms are creating small bursts that allow them to move gracefully until they come to bob just in front and above us all. Fancy, isn't he? This area is called Rock Garden, but feel free to call him Rocky. We'll be training here for the rest of the day. Jump in and get used to it. The atmosphere is fine. With a beckoning gesture and a backflip, Jazz twists off in a free-fall spiral into the apparent open space. One by one, the squires ahead of me take the leap of faith and start floating freely. Some are already quite proficient with their maneuvering, staying in place or moving around one another. Others are far less graceful, drifting, or in one case, rocketing off in all directions. Jazz zips about, herding them back to their packs. My turn comes as Zarya just leaps off and promptly shoots halfway across the room from an ill-timed arm activation. I look off the edge into the seeming abyss of open space. A tingle of nervous excitement bubbles up in my face. My turn comes after Zarya just leaps off and promptly shoots halfway across the room from an ill-timed armor activation. I look off the edge into the seeming abyss of open space. A tingle of nervous excitement bubbles up in me. Some part of me says to not jump, but a much more eager one yearns to leap into the unknown. I look up to locate Eric's the furry meteor that he is to use as a waypoint. Alex is floating nearby too. The two of them are up near one of the larger asteroids. Alex's tail band is glowing slightly. He seems to be interfacing some of his other ornaments with the way they twinkle. Focusing on them, I take a breath. Raise one foot over the edge, then leap off into space. The excitement that had been building continues to fill me as my body loses the anchor of gravity and I start drifting upwards towards him. I want to enjoy the moment, so I don't activate any of the suit's adjustments. I just take it in. There's no up or down. Direction is meaningless, and the only rule is momentum. The urge to windmill my arms in the effort to control my movement is strong, but that would do nothing. There's a feeling of helplessness that rises up. It threatens to overwhelm me with fear. The sensation is not even close to anything I experience. No, that's not entirely right. It's almost like floating on a lake. The memory comes unbidden The hot summer sun blinks down, making me squint my eyes. The water supports me as I float on the immense surface. Deep depths below are just waiting to swallow me up. What are you doing, Cohen? Floating about? Is it gonna net? Is it going to net art? Now, do you wanna just lie there, or are you gonna come help catch something? His voice is clear and full of laughter. It has been a while. I blink and focus on my pack mates. I am adrift, lurching off target. I was gonna help, thanks, Dad. Activating the emitters with my glove, I changed my trajectory and fold my limbs in. I surge towards them with a single burst. As I approach them, I reach out and take their waiting extended arms. They help slow me as they use their own emitters to push back against my sudden speed. Well there, we got you. How are you liking it? Phew, yeah, it's something. I think I got it, but I can see how disorienting it can be. I look around at the other squares. My brain tries to reconcile the chaos of the space. Everything is askew, and no two squares are facing up the same way. Like a jigsaw put together incorrectly, my mind is trying to sort the disorder and organize the surroundings from my new Cartesian position. It is an exhilarating as it is migraine-inducing. Calvert certainly was right about the light breakfast. It makes me glad that our ascent caused some to bring theirs up in the vessel. Floating balls of puke would make this scene less than magical. Brute floats past us, inverted with his arms crossed. I'm once again irritated by how smooth he looks, though him being in the pack now means his aptitude is an advantage, right? Well, speed certainly wasn't your priority, but at least you ended up with us, unlike the wailing comment. And here she is. On cue, Zarya is brought over by ever so graceful Jazz, who doesn't even slow down after releasing her. Our tigress careens into us with Jazz zipping off to herd the last few orbiting squads back in. When our orbit's parcel hits the three of us, we swirl as we compensate until together we're back to a standstill. By the time we've brought her alongside us, Brute has maneuvered around to face us too. Huh, sorry lads. Woo, that was a rust. I got the handle on it now, but I had to open the throttle and see what the upper limits are so I can reel them in. She's beaming with so much that I can't help but chuckle. The giddiness of the experience is still fresh. She grabs onto the rock next to us. Her arm glows purple as she secures herself to it. I do the same, although the suit's emitters are far less powerful. I feel the pull of my arm towards the meteor ward, and I'm anchored. Right, enough bobbing around like useless rotten apples. Time to start learning to soar and land correctly, like a thrown rotten apple hitting its mark, hopefully without the splatter. The analogy works. They circle around to face us all, albeit from an odd angle. Obviously, orientation is a name in the game when it comes to coordinating in 3 dimensions. I've been kinda made Rocky give you some rubber to use as focus points. In actual space, you'll likely not be as lucky. Asteroid belts or planets with rings are not especially common. More often than not, there will be burning wreckage, the void space, and maybe a planet somewhere in the distance. With our frame of reference, it can be very easy to become disoriented and lost. I'm going to be far too busy to fish around sectors looking for loose squads like dumplings and soup. Okay, maybe I skipped breakfast. Regardless, you have to learn first how to operate in directionless environments with practice, and if I deem you worthy enough to mount my precious darling steeds, you'll come to grips with this. Jazz floats over to the ring of rocks. With a flick of their various arms, they send out glowing beacons that disperse amongst the space, twinkling faintly. Propelling themselves back over to float above, they cross their arms and spurt down at us. Well, go on then. Let's see which pack can gather the most beacons and return to safety. They gestured towards the platform we leaped from. As our eyes returned to the captain, they grinned wildly and stood up towards the ceiling. I said go. What are you all drifting there for? Go! There's a ripple of realization that travels through the group before a mad, weightless scramble begins. Jazz certainly knows how to sow chaos. There are scribes who forgot their controls and flail, as well as some that jettison off in random directions in their haste. I reach for my own controls before a paw clamps around my wrist. Brute gives me a pointed look, but quickly releases my arm. Remember the plan. Orientate. Coordinate. You stick with Spotty and take the relative left side. To illustrate, he points at me and Alex before he sweeps his right paw over toward that side of the room. Side guy. You want stripes and keep her tethered. You have enough bolt to do that, at least. Take the relative right. Again, he waves over the area he expects Eric and Zoya to deal with. Oi, what's the furbo? You should at least learn the names of your packmates. And what will you be doing then? Zoya is bristling, but I see she is also eager to get started as other squads are started to head into the field. I'll play cleanup. I can move faster on my own. There were 70 to 80 beacons I saw Cap send out, so let's aim for 5 each and then get back to the landing zone. 5 each would give us 25 in total. If we spotted the right amount, that was a large portion for one team to get. Before I can query, he shoots off in an arc towards the larger asteroids. He is remarkably graceful, almost beautiful, as he weaves and spirals past other squads. He even arrests a few of their momentum. It looks like a collision at first, but Brute just uses them to change his trajectory. It's infuriatingly smart. A tap on my left shoulder from Alex indicates we should move too. I give Eric and Zoya a thumbs up and nod before we depart to our assigned areas. I follow Alex closely, close enough that his tail sometimes bumps my head or one of my shoulders. I think he's going slow on my account. Ahead there are a group of squads jostling one another for a found beacon. Alex chooses to move around them in a wide berth and push ahead. I keep pace and scour for any glowing points to zero in or around us. I scan the rocks as they move and spiral, and also watch the other squads. Some fly around, others hop between larger boulders. Right, there. I spot a glimmer below. Between two smaller rocky bodies caught in a gravitational spiral around one another, I tap Alex's foot, then point when he looks back. Well done. Give me a boost. Feed the feet. I'm not sure what he means at first. As he moves down slightly and tucks in his knees, feet flat out, I get what he wants. Flipping over, I line up and place my feet to his and then secure a magnetic lock to him. I have this image I resemble a performer balancing atop a furry ball. I look past him to where our target is. He cranes his neck to keep track of it too. Wait for it. Now, in tandem, it kicks off and pushes off me as I was commanding the inventors to go full on, sending him surging like a missile. As I slam on the inventors in the opposite direction to stop me from careening off further, I keep my eyes glued to Alex. He tucks in his extremities, his tail trailing behind him like a party streamer. There's another squad closing in on our chosen beacon. Upon seeing Alex fast approaching, they decide to swim out of the way in an amusingly frantic display. Alex decelerates at the last moment, spreading himself like a parachute before grabbing the glowing point. He grabs at one of the mirror wards nearby. Using his rotation to turn, he centers himself before looking towards me. Damn, are all these guys ballerinas or something? I don't have time to admire him, heading back as I hear the sound of impact and scrabbling from above. There's a larger rock close by. It seems like someone is trying to move over its surface. As it rotates, I see two grappled squads trying to outmaneuver each other. A glowing beacon sits on the ground, not an arm's reach away from them. As they grunt and struggle, they both freeze as they spot me. I slowly reach up as they stare and pluck the beacon from the surface, quickly retracting my arm as they both continue to rotate back out of view. I hear two groans of disappointment and realization. Not the most valiant victory, but sometimes you have to take the win. I affix the beacon to my gear just as Alex floats up beside me, giving me a gentle and intended bump. Saw that? Their faces. He grins at me, his own prize also safely secured. We don't linger on the feeling. Alex immediately chooses a vector, and then we realign the same way before heading off again. This feels amazing, scary, and still a little disorientating, but truly a feeling I can get used to. The more we move, the more I find myself adjusting to the concept of moving through a constantly changing environment and heading. A tickle of excitement in the back of my mind starts to grow. From training, I know that the cavalry knights that excel most are those that grasp spatial directions fast and confidently. I have to remind myself that what we are doing now is nothing compared to the microsecond by microsecond changes needed to fight an actual plague fleet. Considering I started today as a beginner, not feeling totally lost fills me with a spark of confidence. As we head into a denser part of the field, maneuvering becomes harder. Alex shows me some pretty interesting moves, mostly on avoiding collisions. He also uses it in the terrain that we come close to, changing trajectory whenever he or I spot a new beacon. This is what Brute was talking about, and it's an invaluable lesson. Alex manages to get two more beacons unimpeded, and I snag one more before we come across other squads aiming for a beacon we're lining up for. This is I'm closing in on what will be my third, a beacon lodged deep into a crevice of a locker-sized meteoroid. Alex shouts, "Watch it!" It's just enough time for me to see a chunk of rock hurtling towards my target and slam in reverse. I reach for Alex's outstretched arm and with his help get out of the area. The rocks collide with a crunch and then break apart. Above us, relatively, I can see two squires. I recognize one as Squire Lugs, who I shot with yesterday. The other, a crocodilian, is grinning as they knock another rock down at us with their tail trying to make us move. We must retreat there. We can take cover behind that meteoroid. On my mark, ready? I see where he's pointing, then I scan quickly to see where the others are. Luz is lining up to push off the huge rock he slats onto a dive to the beacon, which I managed to spot the debris. It's not too far from us now, but if we retreat, we'll surely lose it. I don't want that. No, Alex, we can still get there. We can still get it. Slingshot me. I reach out to him. Alex looks torn between his choice and mine. Seeing the second rock approaching, he grabs me and starts to rotate. Do not blame me if you get smear Cohen, but here we go. As we rotate, we both boost our emitters to speed up. I'll either get this right, overshoot, or collide with Luge, the rock, or something else. None of which is a good result. We rotate one final time before the projectile reaches us. Alex lets go. He's timed it great as I soar towards the blinking boat below. Looking back, Alex has enough excess momentum to avoid being hit too. The debris is small but spread wide, and I have very little time to adjust my approach. Left, right, and Elaren rolls around some others. My eyes never leave my simmering target. In my peripheral vision, Luge is closing the gap. The seal looks at home, swimming towards the beacon at high speeds, but my acceleration is greater and I'm overtaking him. It's going to be close. I see him reaching for it. After missing the last piece of rock between me and the prize, I extend my arms. We collide at the last second and each of us spiral away erratically. My right side stings. I try to activate the emitters in sequence to arrest my spin, though it's hard to judge. It takes me a moment to slow to a stop. I'm glad it was Lude's rather than the quark I hit. Lude's softness helped lessen the blow, and it's only my ears that are left ringing. Glancing about, I spot him. He's still spiraling. I think he's trying to figure out how to stop. Enough of him, though. Where is the beacon? I scan about where the debris is still dispersing. I don't see it. Did the quark grab it after we collided? I clench my hands angrily. My right hand doesn't ball up fully. Looking down, I see a meek blinking emanating from it. Oh, I must have grabbed it before we impacted. Oh, I look around and see Alex moving over to see as I wave it at him victoriously. His concerned expression gives way to a laugh as he pulls up along my left side. Well done. Are you alright? Looked like quite the hit. His paws graze my sides and probe gently, feeling for lasting injuries. As he ends up doing, all he ends up doing is tickling me, and I can feel that heat creeping across my face. No, I'm good, really. I'm good, Alice, really. You can stop. He looks at me and then removes his paw hastily, looking away as well. There's the briefest moment where we just drift inches apart solidly. The moment is soon broken by the nearby roots of other squads claiming a prize. We instantly resume scanning for more. There. We managed to secure the next few beacons without issue, though the number available is definitely dwindling in our section. Alex suggests we head to the platform and snag any remaining ones on the way back. As we propel ourselves towards the landing point, I spot Brute. He's leaping and soaring from rock to empty space to the next meteor ward. Is a form of zero-gravity parkour that is truly amazing to watch. He dives between a bunch of other squads, scoops up a beacon, and doesn't stop. He just moves on like it was nothing. I'm so entranced, I almost miss Alex grabbing my arm and pointing. Following his right arm, I see he's gesturing at a scuffle between three squads who appear to have found two unclaimed beacons or a larger, flatter boulder. A stocky bovine is grappling with the other two and holding his own pretty well, but that also means he is unable to make a move to grab the prize for himself. Back to back, then full speed in. I'll swing you around at the last moment and we'll swipe both in a flyby, okay? It sounds like a solid plan and I trust him. I nod. Moving around and linking our arms at the elbow, we press our backs together and look at the target spot. During this whole exercise, I've been getting a lot of direct contact with Alex. I fully appreciate how built he is. His back against mine is taut and ready. I line up my feet to his, our legs against one another's, then start the emitters, pushing them to match. Alex controls a finer alignment, changes as he needs. All he needs from me is to give him full throttle. We surge towards the scraping trio. Even while focusing on the target, I want to keep an eye on the situation. The bull is using his horns to great effect as he lifts and flings his smaller opponent. They yelp as they cartwheel away. One-on-one, I'm sure he'll make short work of the remaining squads, so we only have a moment to try this. Alex is holding his arms tight as we close in. At our current speed, we will surely crash into the rock, but I'm certain he knows what he's doing. Just as we get to the moment where deceleration will be pointless, Alex makes his move. Unlinking arms, he lets me pull ahead of him while he changes his stance and thrusts. His paw clamps on my ankle and then he yanks. My momentum is redirected and we start to swing away. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the bull squad charge us now that his opponents are dealt with. However, my eyes stay locked on the 2 points of light sweeping to meet mine as my head comes dangerously close to the rock's surface. I can feel the strain from Alex's grip as he is pulling us in the new tangent away from collision, and we start with both hands even as the thundering hooves of one determined bovine echo ever closer towards me. My gloved hands scrape against the hard surfaces as I rake them over the beacons, fisting them as tightly as I can as my swing starts to be pulled away and free. I come within inches of the poor bull, who looks both frustrated and awed. Sorry, I muttered out my apology before we were gone, accelerating away. Though not cleanly, we spiral slightly from the awkward grip Alex has on me. Got them. Got them. Wait, help me stop these. It takes us a bit of time to mitigate our movement and come to a standstill. Eventually we do. Alex still holding me as we rotate a fraction to face the landing point. We did it. You did it, Corwin. Picking up moving like this is not easy at the best of times. Diaz might be right about the trial by fire approach, but still kudos. He grins at me, which I return. His praise means a lot, especially given his grace and speed. Yeah, we make a good team. We should hurry back, though. Time is a factor as well. I say as much to prompt myself as Alex, being held so close while floating, and after such a rush of endorphins from victory could easily lead to things cropping up. With a nod, Alex releases me, and then we both make our way back to the platform. There are a few packs already back, sitting or relaxing. From the looks of it, not everyone has stomached the activity particularly well. A few squads also have some med stripes on them, likely bruising from collisions or scuffles. Zoe is at the edge, waving at us excitedly as we approach. Eric looks on as well, perking up as he spots us too. I reach for Zoe's outstretched arm. She pulls me in and helps me until my feet connect to the platform. Alex lands himself, still graceful and dainty. Welcome back, pack mate. I thought we lost you both. How'd you do? Her far along with her cheek. Her left cheek is slightly wet. Her nose appears to have been bleeding, but she still exudes happy energy. I guess whatever happens, she isn't bothered by it. I pass Alex one of the final beacons we snagged and then retrieved the others I had stored. I got my quota, and Alex ended up with 6. Overall, a great result. Zarya whistles, partially from her mouth, partially from her nose. Is it busted? Woo-wee, that's fantastic. I only managed to get 4, though Eric's got all 5. It's even more remarkable since we spent more time reeling me in. She grabs Eric in a sideways hug, ruffles his fur. He swings away, but grins sheepishly back at her. You weren't bad, just excited. I wouldn't have gotten as many if you weren't scared. If you weren't scared, if you weren't drawing so much focus. She just laughs at me. She just laughs at him as Alex goes into detail over our various victories. I scan the field again for our missing number. There's still a few fair packs going at it. The competition is growing frantic over the last few remaining beacons. As my eyes try to pick him out, I eventually spot Brute in the middle of a 4-way contest. The asteroid they are on slowly rotates him into view. I squint to make out what's going on, but they are a bit too far and moving too fast to really see who is doing what. That being said, seeing Brute fending them off on a rotating rock in the middle of a weightless environment is impressive, especially as I see one squad being picked up and thrown into the void by the belligerent roof. He must be victorious, as I soon see him leaping off and surging back, doing the odd leaping and Parker-style movements I've seen before, very effective if unorthodox. He lands with his left knee down, taking most of his acceleration off at the last moment. He pants for a minute before standing and taking slower breathing and taking deeper breaths. Done. Fuck those losers for trying to slow me down. He sneers at the distant enemies of his who are still searching. Competitive really doesn't begin to start describing Brute. I am coming to realize he always wants to win. He turns back to focus on us, his eyes scrutinizing. So, how many? Ah, yes, he was including us in his conditions for victory. Rather than give a breakdown, decided to just give him the good news. 20 in total. Everyone did their part, don't worry. I thought he was going to be snide, but he just grins and pulls out his hoard of glowing lights. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, read them and weep. 8. Ha. There's no way any other pack got more than 28. We fucking beat them, yes. This is the first time I've ever seen him actually smile. He looks quite nice when he isn't scowling or sneering. If it wasn't for the things he says, I could almost begin to tolerate him. The collected turn at the sound of a whistle. The captain peeks it at a few more times as they soar through the room, herding the remaining squires back to us. After the last squire's touchdown, Jazz addresses us with the biggest smirk. There we go. Isn't it better to get limbs on and get a feel for it, rather than a lecture on the theory? I spotted some absolutely beautiful maneuvers out there, and some other shit ones, but the laugh was worth it. They chuckle as they scan the crowd with their stick. The beacons in our grass pose a response. As the arrows come to land, their graph arms fold back in. They look much less like an arachnid, though still intimidating as they paw through the data on a hollow screen. Oh. They whip their head around, finding Eric's. They then quickly scan over the rest of our pack, one by one, with a sadistic grin. My. You trying to make me proud, something, my squire? Look at this. Jazz slaps the hollow screen and makes it bigger for everyone to see. The table shows a list of us by packing the total beacons obtained. Mars at the top by quite a margin. The next highest pack total was only 17. 40% of the total. Oh, yes. Yes, we love to see that. Good job, Ma. This is how you trounce the competition, alright? We have to see if in the next session the rest of you can outdo them. Paint a nice target on yourselves with that, Ma. I swear they said that to get the others fired up against us. Great. Now we'll have to perform just as well with all the other packs after us. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you what you did wrong, what you did right or wrong. Self-reflection does a better job for now. Think over how you perform and how you do things differently. You have the luxury of that now, so use it. Upload the feed of the exercise to you all so you can examine yourselves from an outsider's perspective as well. They flick their stick towards us, and I feel the vibration and ping from my own response. Tomorrow we will engage in a more defined training regimen. I expect to see you all bright and early. For the day, however, you're dismissed. Go explore and shit. Except you. They just add a few of the squires who had been lying down when Alice and I returned. We added some very non-essential material to my garden. You're going to help clean it up. Rocket doesn't need any donations from you without clogging up his ports. So lucky you. More floating for you. The addressed squires look at Mons and trudge over to the captain. The rest of us start to make our way to the exit. Oh, I'll send the location of your rooms as well, and the promised credits, so you can have a good time on Bevel's. But if I catch even a single squire reported hungover tomorrow, I'll make it look like these lot have gotten off easy. You hear? Yes, Captain. Good. Now, Sue, gotta look after my poor besmirched baby now. With that, the rest of us hurry out before we get roped in to clean as well. After we found the cabin lodgings and the unhappy realization that I am barking with Brute, we stowed our stuff and changed it to casual dress. I was rather alarmed and excited seeing the credit allowance we'd been given. It doesn't take me long to wash and change. Brute decides that making sure his belongings are secured and his bunk is properly set up takes priority. I'm leaning out over the walkway and glance at the scene below as I wait for the others. The streets are active with folks coming off shift, even being this far above the tantalizing smells of street vendors and restaurants starting up for the evening makes me salivate. There are walkways that crisscross so much, looking down conjures the image of a spider web. I shudder at the memory of Captain Jazz floating about and shake my head in an effort to dissipate the mental image. Some ancient human dance? Alice chuckles as he sidles out of his cabin and then leans on the railing next to me. He gives me that smile that shows more in his eyes than his mouth. My attention is drawn immediately to his attire. It looks immaculate. I can't read the script stitched across it, but it looks good on him regardless. I also take note of a few more accessories adorning him. I wonder how much is for show, how much is actually functional in some manner. No dance I know of, so I patent it as my own. Think it could catch on. Alice chuckles. It is nice to see him back to being himself, rather than being caught up in yesterday's incident. Who can say? I was only ever taught traditional dances. Yours seem too abstract for this humble cat to be able to judge. Maybe some far away place may adopt it as their new ballroom waltz. Oh, but Lord Ronald's, we already danced earlier today in the garden, did we not? I think I could teach you more abstract positions in but a few lessons. I give him a mock bow, and just as I see him open his mouth to retort, Zarya classically bursts forth from her door into the jacks. What's this I hear? We going dancing? Appearing the epitome of comfortable casual, Zarya gives us a look that makes me think she's serious about the dancing. Not if we don't want the locals to flee in panic at the sight of Corwin. He is unfortunate in the coordination department. I spin the glare at him as he winks at me. Hey, I was taught a few proper dances. You name a time and place and we'll throw down. Now that does sound like fun. I'll happily join in. I want to see how your dances differ from my clans. We mostly dance ceremoniously or for big celebrations. The dancing? Eric squeaks as he exits his and Alex's room. He has a full fight or flight look on his face and is even reaching back for the door. No, calm down, Alex. We were just joking about something Coax was doing. We weren't actually planning on going dancing, but that there'd be any contest. Not that there'd be any contest. He gives me another wink with the last comment, and I narrow my eyes at him. Maybe having Alex back to being coy isn't better at all. Jeez, what the fuck are you all clucking about? I could hear you through solid metal. Brute finally graces us with his presence, knocking on the paneling to emphasize his irritation. His casual look is more of a mismatch of items, but it kind of works for him. They look well worn, too, though clearly cared for. He glances us over, his muzzle only noticeably wriggling at Alex. His look softens just a little when his eyes linger on me. It's called polite conversation, Brute. You should try it. Zarya rolls her eyes at Brute before looking down into the city streets, her expression quickly changing to eagerness. Zarya rolls her eyes at Brute before looking down to the city streets. Her expression quickly changing to eagerness. She squints at stops and signs. What should we do then? We have credits to burn and plenty of time to explore. After all, the acrobatic circus tricks are famous. Her nose twitches as she inhales the scent sweltering up. I'd like to check out a few of the stores and see what kinds of products they have up here. I'm not too fussed about shopping. If we can perhaps pass by some of the city's system nodes, I'd be most grateful. Jazz mentioned a few of the ways they build this place for long-term deployment, and I'd like to have a look, if that isn't too much of a bother. Alex smiles kindly at Eric as he squeaks out his request. Of course, Eric. We're a team after all. We're a team as well as friends. We'd be more than happy to do what you want as well, wouldn't I? He glares over at Brute, who crosses his arms and scowls back. Brute? Brute looks like he is about to bite back for a moment. Instead, surprisingly, he hustles and looks away. Experience. Huh? He scowls a little before repeating himself. Experience. There's a branch store here. I'd like to look at what they have. If I have to follow you all around doing pointless things, I'd like to at least see if there are any advanced tech worth my time on sale. Zarya looks like she's about to interject, but Alex holds up a paw. I guess I'd be half a hypocrite if I said we would not do what one of the pack wanted. Finding Brute, we'll make our way down. Check some areas for Eric's, peruse the stores, and then finish with a meal. Does this all sound good? With tensions more or less diffused, we are not in agreement, and then the pack moves into the city. We spend the next few hours wandering the streets of Belleville, doing what we plan. I'll admit, I haven't as much interest in the construction of the city as Eric's, but the parts and structures he starts to look at was very important. Look, Cohen, these pillars use the same heavy-base kinetic bombardment system that the drop ships have for emergency forfeiture. It's scary but cool. The way he examines them, takes notes, and casts images of them reminds me of the fanatical excitement morals sold when talking about tech. His stumpy tail wagging up a storm is well worth the detour. The stores are the biggest draws for me. With a generous credit dump from Captain Giles, I feel the burning desire to buy something for myself, namely some new clothes. The high-end boutiques are a little overwhelming, though. Alice gives him a cursory look, but he agrees that the more functional clothing in a store called Designer Debrief would be better and may even reveal some hidden bargain. As Zarya and Alice get into a heated debate over the hierarchy of the importance between aesthetics and practicality, I comb through some of the wax looking for something that I want. There's a lot of variety in the garments and the sizes as well. Some are made of a recyclable mesh that can adjust to a few body types, and some others are species specific. I don't have any issues wearing something tailored for other species as long as the clothing doesn't have additional appendage holes or unique materials that are designed for fur or scale types that will irritate my skin. I end up finding a rather nice jacket. It has blue accents on the breast and while still looking adorable, price is still a tad steep. It would be nice to have something that matches Cabot's attire. The blue is the same shade as his eye, which is what attracted me to it. As I considered it, I'm surprised when Brute's paw appeals for my left. Suddenly he welds the fabric between his pads before running a claw along it. Was he after it as well? He checks the maker's brand and the price tag before releasing it. Maker is good, and it's one of durable lines, but a few seasons old now. It's worth it as is, but ask them to knock 10% off. It'll last you a long time if you care for it. With that remark, he just walks off to another whack. Truly, he is as vexed as he is unpredictable. I'm not sure what he's playing at, but I do take the jacket to the counter. They checked the system after I mentioned a lower price, and they agreed that it's an old enough product to warrant it. Then, more than satisfied, I put it on to wear it. After comparing a few of the items the others picked out, we move on. Experience turns out to be pet, and it is clear to see why. The store has all manner of unusual and new tech from ears to car. The Poseidon home planet is touted as the most advanced technologically speaking in the galaxy. Rumors are they even converted the entire planet into machinery, though the idea beggars belief. The sales personnel are very animated and draw passerby into the store with their over-the-top spiel. As the narrator watches a demonstration of an oscillating sealed matrix, Brute enters. By the time the presentation is done, he has finished up and is leaving. He must have already known what he wanted to buy or was just very efficient with his shopping. Even if he looks pleased, I'm not about to pry into what he's bought. If he thinks I've shown interest, he may spend hours securing them in the room later. I do not want to endure that. By the time we hit the food strip, my stomach's rumbling up a storm. Oh, look, there's a zero-gravity grill, and there's spots in front of the shelf. Let's eat there. Our excited Tigers points at an open-style restaurant where the chef cooks right in front of you. I've never eaten in one before, but it looks great. I can smell it from here. I mean, if everyone else wants to. Eric's mouth is practically watery with a chuckle. Alex nods, and then we all clamber up onto the high stools. After looking over the menu and ordering a set meal, we each make our choices and then watch the chef get to work. The preparation is just as much about being sorry as it is about cooking the food. The chef uses various tools and fields to suspend the ingredients in the air with plasma wings and swirling spices in such a ways that it looks like a circus of food. Meat soars through the obstacle course, being seasoned, cooked, and pulled through sauce like the chef is a conductor. We applaud when they finally present us with our bowls of spectacularly prepared cuisine. Now that was something. Alex looks delighted with his expertly sliced meat and accompaniments and takes a taste. And I am happy to see the display is only matched by the flavor. This day truly has offered plenty of new experiences. I have not seen such a place before. He chews happily. I take a taste myself, having one for an all-in-one bowl set with a sphere of soup as well. The soup is suspended above a small emitter with a straw. It is easily slurped down. In between bites from the bowl, it pairs incredibly well. The broth cuts through the fatty meat with a refreshing amount of spice. Even Brute has put away his scowl for a moment, giving his forehead a well-earned rest as he chows down on his meat-rich choice. Oh, this is so good. I have never had anything this glorious before. Wow. Her tail bounces and wiggles in utter delight and satisfaction. I can't help but grin as he chokes on her far too large bite as he then slams the fist into her chest to help clear it. I'm okay. Your eagerness is surely a compliment to yourself, but perhaps a little less haste will be prudent. You're telling us you truly have never had such a meal. The ingredients and performance aside, cooking technique is not overly complicated. Zoya looks sheepish as she takes a few sips of her beverage. When she takes another bite, she chews slowly and savors it thoughtfully. Well, my people have a philosophy of trying to keep and honor the original form of all things, as closely as possible, from buildings to weapons to food. She finishes with a nod to her meal. She carefully picks apart the pieces into small pounds. We traditionally will eat food with very little processing raw, lightly seasoned, if at all, or sometimes seared just a little. Each ingredient is its own treasured mouthful. She mixes the separated food back together rebelliously and then scarfs down the result with glee. Some things are better together, though, don't you think? Eris is leaning forward on his stool, listening intently. His meal alone will probably be in the front of Zora's clansmen, with its mix of ingredients from the land, sea, and sky. I understand the idea behind the stance, but cooking should be something to experiment with. I feel at least there are so many combinations to be had. I love tasting new flavors. Sorry if that was rude. Root huffs at the end of the line. There his scowls back in place. Sounds like the ideals of those with more time on their plate than sense. Hey, that's what I don't think it's somewhat archaic. I do think it's somewhat archaic, and my clan is more traditional than most. However, the principle of admiring the effort it takes to get food from the source to a meal does make sense, I think. Principles are a luxury the starving can't afford when all they can scrounge up is a half flattened box of barely edible processed gunk. I have no idea what or when they'll eat next. He digs back into his meal and Zoya stares, clearly at a loss for words. Well, I do. Well, yes, of course, when it comes to survival, and I mean, before the play, that is. She mumbles off and goes back to her meal. I feel we'll eat in silence now, but Alex chirps up. I do understand what you mean. Brute ideology, standards, and etiquette. It's all good and done when you aren't being beset by an unpredictable, ever-consuming threat. So much has been disrupted and lost. I admire the Tigers' culture for trying to hold on to some of the heritage they're proud of, without falling into denial and stubbornness over it. After all, those arms aren't basic at all. Zoya looks up at that and then flexes her claws. The motors gently working as each distant moves. They are truly a mechanical marvel. Yeah, of course, we had to change. We had to adapt. All of us have had to. The crown system hasn't been hit yet, but some of the outer colonies were reaped. Plenty of convoys too, more so before KAU took the fight back to them. My sister was targeted at the turn of the century, being so mineral rich. We have always been on high alert. Fortunately, a KAU contingent was in the sector. They didn't get to deploy planetside before they retreated. Alex shakes his head in sad dismay, his tail twitching irritably as he continues. Since then, it's been a game of hunter and hunted. Small incursions, distractions, and feints, infrequent strikes, and then coordinated pincered attacks. KAU has had to occupy 2 moons in the system to keep up a consistent presence. Eric stares at Alex with what appears to be newfound respect. There had been lessons on which sisters the plague seemed most keen on hitting repeatedly, but I hadn't put the connection together that Alex was from one of them. That's so insane. I can't imagine what your people must go through on a daily basis, just wondering when the next attempt is gonna be, just waiting for the green storm to... He peters out. I wince when he mentioned the storm. He noticed, in fact, they all have and are looking at me expectantly. You know how to. No, it's okay, Alex. I should share this. Everyone else is sharing their experiences. We are a pack, so we should connect as much as we can. Still, it feels like reopening a wound that has barely started to scab over. My system, my planet, was attacked when I was a kid, not even a teen. We'd never even been targeted before. They just appeared one day and started tearing the world apart. They told us afterward that emergency buoys had been deployed right away, but we were so far out from anything, even with quantum messaging, it took a while for the fleet to arrive. I rubbed my hands together as I recall it, the sounds of panic, the rumbling of the earth beneath us as it cracked and split, the hopeful feeling when it was announced the cavalry had arrived and engaged. The green storm came in the morning. My mother and I were heading to a KAU extraction point. We didn't know who was winning, just that the cavalry was fighting them. There was a panic, people screaming, trampling over one another to try and get to safety. My voice breaks and I cough. I was keeping my eyes down as I recount the attack, but as I reach for my glass, I see their faces. Horror, fear, pity, even brute looks solemn. I take a sip, clear my throat, and then keep pushing through. I lost her, my mother. One moment I had her hand, the next gone. I could hear her calling me, but with everyone pushing and shoving, I ended up in an alley. Maybe I could have found her eventually, but a plague ship started falling. Something had happened in the battle, and stray ships started impacting the city. The noises of those impacts, like detonations, the vibration through the ground and air, the screams. All of it is so clear even now. It rings in my ears. When the dust settled, there was next to nothing left. No one left. I met Manos, my best friend, back home. Digging through the rubble, we didn't know what had happened and what to do, so we just stuck together. It took even KAU days to get through all the records to find every survivor. We were weak by then from hunger, so I don't recall much of it, but I remember the armor and the figure of the knight who pulled us out of the makeshift camp we put together. I swear it was truly a blur, the hours and days that followed, blending together before we both ended up in a shelter on the moon. I probably still would have joined KAU before all that either. It felt like I owed it to everyone to try to get justice and make what happened not happen anymore. Well, eventually, once we beat them. Damn, Cohen, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I concur. To have lived through that, I cannot imagine the fortitude that must have taken. I didn't mean to bring down the mood. It's times like this that having Brute be his usual snide self might actually help, but even he is looking away at the street. Well, I think you got us beat in terms of first-hand experience. We can go back to the rooms if you like. We all jump when the grill hisses as the chef throws the next course down on the hot metal, flipping it slowly through orbiting spices. They start their next performance. Eric is so startled that he teeters back on his stool. Zarya has to grab him to prevent him from tipping over. It is alarming, but the interruption broke the tension, which I'm so glad for. Well, Eric, careful. We still need you for tomorrow. I wonder what your night is even going to make us do. Do you have any idea? Phew, thanks, Zarya. I don't know. Jazz is very focused and intelligent, but also kind of wild. So I don't know what they'll have us doing. Maybe escape pod jettison procedures or rapid decompression or... With a moment past, the meal continues as we discuss what to expect from the feisty captain tomorrow. I'm still stressed, but eases as the night progresses until we eventually all head to our cabins. As I somewhat expected, Brute takes his time going through all his purchases in a secretive manner on his top bunk. I leave him to it as I walk up and get ready for bed. If I wasn't so exhausted, I'd be worried that Brute was going to try something while I slept. With everything that has happened today, I'm ready to just turn in and can't care less about the wolf. By the time I come out of the washroom, Brute has already stowed everything and got into his bunk properly. I guess he's of morning sour kind of guy. I slide into and settle in. The bed is as comfy as the one I'm getting used to. The bed isn't as comfy as the one I'm getting so used to at Cabot's house, but it is still very well made, if more utilitarian. I try to wind down, listening to the odd hums and thrums of the station city around us. Brute is already sifting above me. It makes me remember the dorms with as many as 10 of us to a room. When you learn to sleep through that, you can sleep through any amount of noise. I start to drift as I hear a voice calling from above. Did all that really happen to you, disturbing everything? It's a low, barely a whisper. I feel the need to reply in kind. Yeah, it was all true. I wait for him to reply. After a moment of silence, I hear him roll over and make himself comfortable. I guess he doesn't want to say anything else. Good night, Brute. I muttered before closing my eyes and trying to drift off again. Bye, Corin. In the morning, Brute seems just as grouchy as ever. He rises and then gets ready, keeping the bathroom door open the whole time. Deciding that I'd rather leave him be, I get dressed and then step out to look over the railing again. The streets below are active again, though with more of a morning rush feel to them. I'm not aching much from yesterday, so I'm eager to take on whatever Jazz decides to throw at us. This anticipating more fantastical, gravity-defying maneuvers. A blaring announcement whips through the station. Many of the building faces and screens changes to display an alert. Plague incursion from OSIT Center. C45 X405-6. Engagement complete. Alert. Plague incursion status. Retreated. Ongoing threat level high. Plague presence in auxiliary attacks. Expected all stations to commit to continual scans. All operations to be battle and deployment ready. Casualties. Raptor unit pets. Beak, wingtip, and talon. OOC pending medical screening. Inner alert. I stared at the alert scrolling across the screens. The plague. They've attacked. Those sector coordinates. No, not near Furrow. There are at least a dozen systems away. Still, 3 units have suffered some injuries, not announced deaths, but would they even out of commission could mean anything from mild to severe. I hope that the pending medical part means that everyone has survived. The details are so vague, I don't know how many people were even involved. The doors behind me opened and my pack mates rushed out wide-eyed. The rooms behind them were awash with a glow from the same alert. My stick vibrates and whistles with a notification. The others get one too. We hurry to pull them out to see the same message blaring around us, but with a few more details. Plague incursion from OSIT Sector C45 X405-6. Operational update. Alert. Plague incursion status. Retreated. Ongoing threat level high. Incursion type weeping. Plague core set force retreat. Planetary damage. 15%. Bishop division deployed. Plague presence and auxiliary attacks expected. Archer division requested in the system. All to be battle and deployment ready. Casualties. Raptor unit pets, beak, wingtip, and talon. OOC pending medical screening. Operational changes. Lunar unit packs of Maw, Claw, Hind approved for active duty. I stare at the last line. Our pack is active. The next alarm could call us to the front lines to fight the plague. I'm not the only one in shock. Everyone else is reacting to the realization. Are we really ready? Am I? Alright, so it looks like they may possibly have to go out and do some service, being the real deal, It may not be practice any longer, but they may have to actually face the real thing this time. So since I started playing in Finite Space, there's been a new update that came out, which is Chapter 5. So if it wasn't for the new update that came out a week or two ago, that point where I stopped, that would have been the point where the VN would have ended. So I decided to cut it there since the VN ended at that point, before the new update came out. So it seems Brute was moved by what Cohen said about his past. Everybody was, but even Brute to be moved by that, and him asking Cohen when they were about to sleep in their bunk beds if what he said was true, and Cohen confirming to him that everything that happened was true. It was his home planet, and Cohen said goodnight to Brute, and then Brute actually said goodnight back to Cohen. So I guess Brute is starting to be more cooperative. He even offered shopping advice, about clothes, especially ones that have been on the sales floor, on the rack for a long time and have aged, and suggested that Cohen get a discount if possible, since the clothing was older. And Cohen took his advice. He was able to get a discount on the clothes, so the new clothes he got. So I'm slowly starting to dislike Brute less. I still dislike him, but I dislike him a little less. But I do respect him for his fighting prowess and his dedication, and him wanting to be competitive, wanting to be the best. So I have great respect for Brute when it comes to that. So about that, about Cohen's past, that was really sad, and how he got lost with his mother, and how he met his friend, that guy we saw at the start of the story, and during the ruins in their city when the plague attacked and they had to survive, and they were hungry, and then the cavalry came and saved them. So we do know now how they became friends. So I think it's safe to say his mother's dead. I don't know, maybe she's still somewhere around there, but I'm thinking she's dead from the rubble. Even though there were some survivors, chances that his mother is still alive is kind of slim. But anyway, that's what I was saying. Alright, so Jazz, he's quite a wild person, unorthodox, just kind of like this snarky, mischievous type of personality. It's kind of weird, the squires of the knights were paired based on their personality. If they had the same or at least a very similar personality, then they would be paired together. Sarx and Zoya, both of them were very energetic and always duty bound and optimistic, so they were paired together. And Brute and Commander Finn, both of them are very, very stern and tough, and just no nonsense, and just have this huge hatred for the plague. So they definitely are a good fit. And they would see the person who was paired with Alex. I don't know, but I think they have like a similar behavior. But certainly the Jazz being paired with Eric's, that's very weird, because they're very different. So you already heard what I had to say about Jazz. And Eric's is like this, very humble, polite bear. So that's kind of weird that they were paired together like that. And I believe Corbin and Cobbetts were paired together because both of them went through a lot of stuff. And with Cobbetts being injured, like Silk Quest, and Corwin suffering. Well, he may not have been physically injured, but mentally he was suffering from the plague attack on his planet. It seems both of them are polite, and so I guess that's another reason why they were paired together. Alright, so that's all I have to say for now. Next time we'll start the new update for chapter 5, and it will take 2 videos to do, so it's pretty long. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.